What's up guys? Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite operators, Sledge. So let's get right into it. In Rainbow Six Siege, the unique thing that Sledge has is his breaching hammer, which is effectively a 25 use breaching charge that is both faster and more quiet to activate. Because of these characteristics, Sledge effectively becomes the best roamer that the attackers have. The hammer can be used in all destructible flooring and walls, it can also one-hit barbed wire, and it is one of the two reliable ways to deal with pesky castle barricades. Sledge's special ability is particularly useful on maps with heavy destruction and maps that do not have too much open space. In my experience, I have found Sledge to be useful in all roles, though he is particularly effective at roaming and rushing. Let's take a look at Sledge's guns. So the first weapon that Sledge has, and the most versatile, is the L85. In comparison to a lot of the other guns in 6 Siege, the L85 is a very good gun due to its low recoil, high damage, and extremely good damage drop-off range. Like most rifles in the game, the L85 can be equipped with whatever NATO sight you prefer. Depending on the map and the engagements you're willing to take, I'd recommend the ACOG for long range, or any of the 1x close range optics for close range rushing style tactics. As for the grip, there's only one option, so there's no reason not to take it, as it makes recoil even easier to manage. As for the barrel on the L85, I've had a lot of success with the suppressor, as when it's paired with a hammer, it makes for a very nasty surprise combo, as it also gets rid of your bullet trails. And I've also had a lot of success with the Muzzle Break, for even better control at longer distances. Due to the easy recoil control at close to mid-range, I would definitely not recommend the other barrels, though this is really based on your preference. As for laser sight on this weapon, I wouldn't really recommend it, since the secondary is already automatic and you can put the laser on that, but if you are comfortable using laser sights on your rifles, then it certainly isn't a bad attachment to take. In most scenarios, the L85 would overshadow the M590 as a primary, but in my opinion, it still has its uses, and it still has its place in the game, depending on what you want to do with Sledge, that is. In my experience, I've found the shotgun to be particularly useful on Sledge when rushing. If you rush really fast with the shotgun, there's little that can stop you, as everyone will probably still be setting up, which allows you to get some really fast picks, because you don't really have to aim too much with the shotty. I've also found a lot of success with the M590, using it in a manner similar to how you'd play Buck, effectively playing vertically from above or from below with a shotgun. The M590 is the best shotgun at destroying the environment, and is thus pretty good when shooting the enemy from above or from below. As for attachments on the M590, I always put lasers in my shotguns, and the sight is optional for all you iron sight purists out there. I just use the reflex because the housing is so much smaller than the other sights. That way it doesn't screw up with my peripheral vision. So let's take a look at Sledge's secondaries. Here you have the option between the SMG-11 and the SIG. Both are really good, and I really can't talk poorly about the SIG because it's my favorite handgun in the game. But in this case, I recommend the SMG-11 because it has more capacity and it has a ridiculous fire rate. I've had the most success with this weapon with the following attachments: a laser sight, the vertical grip, and with the extended barrel. This obviously isn't the only viable way to run the SMG-11, so feel free to take whatever attachments you prefer. The SIG is another viable option, though I wouldn't really recommend taking it over the SMG-11 for obvious reasons, but if you do want to take it, I'd recommend putting a laser sight and a muzzle brake on it, just because you're never going to have it out as your primary, so the laser's not going to be showing anyways. In terms of the secondary gadget you can take on Sledge, I would always recommend the frag grenades, even on hostage, because they're just so useful. Not many operators in 6 Siege get frag grenades, so being one of the few that does get them, there's no reason not to take them. Just be careful about where you throw your grenades, and there really shouldn't be that much risk involved with them. If you're new to the game, I'd recommend Sledge for you, as he's an entry fragger, so he's just there to get kills, and if he dies, it doesn't matter so much, as his gadget is handy but not effectively necessary, since he doesn't bring anything new to the table. So for example, if Sledge dies early, it doesn't really matter in comparison to like Hibana or Thermite dying before they get to use their gadget, as other operators can perform Sledge's job but just a little bit slower. I'd also suggest Sledge to newer players, as his ability is great at teaching new players map layout. Because of this, I'd say he's pretty good for new players getting into the game that aren't entirely ready for the pressure of playing one of the more important operators. In addition to this, the hammer is a great way to start learning map layout, since you really get to tinker with destruction a whole bunch. So in general, he's just one of the better tutorial operators for the game. Though, once you do master him in the maps, he has the potential to become one of the most lethal operators in all of 6 Siege. One of the last tips I have for playing Sledge would be to please not play him in the way you would with Buck, vertically, using his gadget to destroy the floor, as most flooring takes 2 hits with a sledgehammer to open up. So if you do want to play him vertically, use the shotgun, otherwise this might happen to you.